Hi, my name is Tufeeq Rehman, and for this assignment, I have to select a topic. So I have selected this staff retention in early childhood education care in Australia, and this is our assessment two, which is based on research informed critical reflection regarding staff retention. So So, this is the introduction. So, in introduction, basically, staff retention has become a major challenge in Australians' early childhood education and care sector, and basically, high educator turnover threatens service quality, children's well-being, and compliance with the National Quality Standards (NQS). Accordingly to the Productivity Commission, they said like Australia faces a shortage of over 11,000 qualified educators. Nearly one in five educator leaves the profession within first year. This is accordingly to the Australian Childcare Alliance. This crisis is driven by low pay, emotional exhaustion, and limited career progression. It also impacts children's emotional security and learning continuity. Key elements of the early years learning framework, version 2.0, principles such as secure, respectful, and relationship, and ongoing learning and reflective practice. Next, effective leadership plays a vital role in addressing this issue by creating positive, supportive, and reflective workplace cultures where educators feel valued and motivated to stay. Now, I'm going to discuss the staff retention issue in Australian context. Then, staff retention refers to an organization's ability to maintain qualified educator over time. In ECEC, early childhood education and care, consistent staffing is crucial for quality education and continuity of a relationship with children and children families and other communities. However, many services struggle with high turnover, particularly in rural and low income areas. Now, approximately approximately there are many researches has been conducted. So one of the research have some foundings which says like with many educators tell us that staffing shortage are a huge problem for this sector and their everyday working environment. um, Now we're going to discuss about the key cause of low staff retention. So there are multiple contributing factors such as low remuneration, workload stress, and burnout, limited recognition, career stagnation, and work-life balance. So if I'm going to discuss about a low remuneration, which means many educators earns below the national median range, making it difficult to sustain long-term employment. For workload stress and burnout, compliance requirement, documentation, and high staff to child ratio contributes to mental fatigue in a staff basically. Limited recognition means educator often feel undervalued compared to school teacher despite similar responsibilities. Career stagnation, a lack of clear pathways, and limited access to funded professional learning opportunities discourage long term engagement. Now, work life balance, if we talk about work life balance, irregular hours and emotional labor reduce the job satisfaction. I'm gonna discuss one example with you as well. A long daycare center in regional Queensland experienced the resignation of three diploma qualified educators in 6 months. The director struggled to meet NQS staffing ratio and maintain consistent relationship with children, leading to reduced family satisfaction. This example highlights how staff shortage not only disturb operations but also compromise quality, teamwork, and staff well-being. Approaching approaching accordingly to the ASIQA, approaching three quarters, 72% of respondents indicate that they intended to work in the children's education and care sector for at least another 5 year, with 24% indicating 1 to 5 year and 4% indicating less than 1 year. So these responded who indicate that they intended to leave the children's education and care sector within the next 5 years were asked a follow-up question as to why they are basically living, and what they have answered. I just gonna give you some uh, quotations like what they answered. Like they said, like, we have a huge workload, we have a huge paperwork, we have it's very hard to do the responsibilities. They are not It's very hard to do the to manage the family time, and many more. Now we're gonna disc the risk in relation to EYLF and NQS. So high staffing turnover presents several risks to the implementation of the EYLF. So if we talk about the principal one, which is secure, respectful, and reciprocal relationship. So the frequent changes in educator describe children's sense of security is and attachment. Ongoing learning and reflective practice, consistent turnover regarding staff, limited reflective dialogue, and shared professional growth. Next, continuity of learning and transaction. Disrupted staff affects the consistency of learning experiences and documentation. Now, we're gonna discuss the risk in regard to NQS. So the quality area one, which is educational program and practice. Loss of experienced staff reduces curriculum quality and reflective planning. And quality area 4, which is staff arrangement. Difficulty in maintaining ratio and consistent team affect children's emotional safety. Now, the quality area 7, which is about governance and leadership. High turnover prevents leaders from focusing on strategic quality improvement. I have one example with this. In a Melbourne service, staff changes meant children had new key educator over a few months, causing anxiety and behavioral issues. Family feedback highlighted loss of trust and connection, showing how retention, staff retention, basically directly affects the community engagement. Now, how we can overcome this problem? So we have different strategies. So the first strategy is about improving wages and working condition. Low wages remains the biggest cause of educator attraction, educator retention. The Productivity Commission recommends government funded wage supplement and sustainable funding model. Services can implement enterprise or agreement that ensures pay parity with school teachers and provide benefits such as paid professional development and wellness leaves. I have an example regarding this. Good Start Early Learning negotiated an EBA that raised wages by 10%, reducing turnover by 15% in 1 year. Strategy 2, which is about build professional identity and recognition. So recognition of educator as professional enhance moral and retention, encourage engagement in professional learning communities, promotes collaboration and share practice improvement. Leaders can publicly celebrate their achievement, nominate staff for rewards, and advocate for ECE as a respective career path. Now, next we can do monitoring and do leadership development. So, monitoring staff, new educator, and reducing early burnout. Experienced staff can guide reflective practice and help colleagues to navigate challenges. Distributed leadership models empower educators and improve engagement and retention. Structure induction program, peer observation, and feedback system create belonging and continuous learning. Next, we can do workplace well-being and culture. So, a positive workplace culture improves job satisfaction. Leaders should ensure open communication, team appreciation, even and supportive supervision. A CEQA basically emphasized that reflective learning communities reduce stress and build trust. Service can also offer well-being initiatives such as flexible rostering and mental health workshops. So I have an example regarding this. A Perth-based childcare center introduced well-being Wednesday for mindfulness and team check-ins, reporting improvement morale and zero resignation in 6 months. Next we can do career progression and professional learning, providing pathways to higher qualification and leadership roles motivates educated to stay subsidized study leaves in service training and scholarship encourage professional growth. This aligns with the EYLF principle of ongoing learning and NQS quality area of 7 focus on continuous improvement. Now, leadership reflection. So, as a aspiring leader, my approach will combine transformational and collaborative leadership. Transformational leadership focus on inspiring and empowering others, while collaborative leadership builds shared responsibilities. To address retention, I would facilitate reflection meetings where educators share experience and solution. I would recognize individual strength and contributions to foster belongings. I would implement mentoring system to support new staff and promote peer learning. I would encourage transparent communication and a robust decision making. By adopting a distributed model, leadership becomes everyone's responsibility, enhancing commitment and ownership. So that what I would do basically. So effective leadership goes beyond management. It's about building trust, empathy, and purpose. By creating a culture that values educators well-beings and growth, leaders can basically transform retention challenges into opportunity for innovation and professional excellence. Now, I'm going to conclude my presentation by saying staff retentions remain a pressing issue in Australian early childhood education sector. High turnover disrupts relationship, affects quality, and places pressure on remaining educator. Linking the issue to the EYLF version 2.0 and NQS reveals how retention influence every dimension of quality from learning continuity to leadership effectiveness. Addressing these challenges required systematic approaches and systematic support, better pay, professional recognition, leadership development, and workplace well-being. Through reflective and distributive leadership, educators can build mm, cohesive and motivated team that foster a culture of belonging, respect, and continuous improvement. Ultimately, retaining passionate educators ensures that children experience consistent high quality education and care, the foundation for a lifelong learning and success. That's the presentation I did, and that's my reference, which is basically APA 7 style. I'm gonna have a pause here so you can have a look uh, into my references. Okay, all good. Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can just email me. Thank you.